Welcome to Parents and Teens Rising, the podcast that bridges the gap between parents and teens and helps families thrive. I'm Jasmine Chandler, teen and parent coach, wilderness rites of passage guide, and founder of Guided Passages. After over 16 years of working with young people, I know how challenging and rewarding these years can be. Each week, we'll explore real conversations, practical tools, and fresh perspectives to help you connect with your teen, support their confidence, and navigate the ups and downs. Let's rise together. Hey everyone, welcome back into the podcast. Oh my gosh, I have had such an immensely busy week this week. I have been running lots of online workshops and just tons and tons of coaching clients right now. I'm just packing things in every single tiny corner that I can. And it has been really amazing and also really exhausting. So yesterday, after I ran my big workshop, the Teen Confidence Breakthrough, to really give parents some tools to help their teens or young adults who are struggling with anxiety or low confidence or low motivation and all of that. After I had run that workshop and just done all the preparatory stuff to get ready for it and whatnot, by the time 4 o'clock came around that day and I'd had a bunch of coaching sessions and different things, I was just so tired and so done. And part of me was like, oh, I should probably do some follow-up emails and do this, that, or the other. And the other part of me was just like, no. And my daughter even had a volleyball game that was going to be in a few towns over, and I had been planning on going to that. And I ultimately decided not to do that either because I just recognized I had reached my capacity. I had reached my limit. And so I took a nap and it was so amazing. I went and took an hour-long nap. I came down and I turned on my music and I sat at the table and I started doing my beadwork, which I just absolutely love to do. And I burned some incense and lit a candle and just all the things. And I just felt my whole body relax. And it was just that reminder that, oh yes, I can't just keep going and going and going and pushing and pushing and pushing. It's that reminder of self-care that I talk to young people about all the time, that I talk to parents all the time. But, we always, come up against those moments in our everyday life where we have to be reminded that we need those resets. And sometimes the best thing we can do for anybody is to take care of ourselves. And it really reminded me about how I'm so thankful to have these things in my life, like beadwork, like other passions that I have that are so important to me, like backpacking or camping or just all the different things that I love to do, because it's so wonderful to be able to drop back into those things in these moments when we really need a reset. We need something just for us that's not about our kids and it's not about our job and it's not about our partners. It's just for us. And I just felt so rejuvenated after that time last night. And so I was feeling really thankful. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today, because one of the best things I have ever done as a mother wasn't actually what I've done for my kids, although obviously I've done a lot, as we all have, but it was really something I have done for myself. And it's following my own dreams and passions, which has changed not only my life, but my kids' lives too. And I think that's something that we don't talk about enough as parents. It's so easy to fall into the belief that being a good parent means sacrificing everything and centering our entire world around our kids and letting our own dreams take a back seat. But what if the opposite is actually true? What if the most powerful thing we can do for our kids is to actually live into our own dreams, purpose, and passions? And this idea really reminded me of something that Glennon Doyle, who's one of my favorite authors and podcasters, but something that she said really stood out to me one day. I saw an Instagram reel where she was being interviewed, and she shared a quote from Carl Jung that says, "The greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of its parents." And after she gave that quote, she expanded on it by saying, children will only allow themselves to live as fully as their parents lived. So the duty of a parent is to not accept any life, relationship, conversation, or occupation that's less true and beautiful than we would want for our own children, because they will only allow themselves to step into lives as big as the ones we allow ourselves to live. And that just to me was so profound because so often we just pour every ounce of our energy and life force into our children because we love them so much. And we think we're doing them a service. And in many ways we are, right? And there's also this other part that when we give so much of ourselves and all of this sacrifice, we are modeling something that we don't actually want for them, right? Which is this idea that our life is about sacrifice, that our life is only about serving others, that it's not about our own joy or our own dreams, right? We would never want that for them, but that's what we show them in the way that we behave sometimes. And so I can really relate to what Glennon shared because for a long time, I was in pure survival mode as a parent, working, raising kids, trying to make my marriage, work, managing all of the logistics. And it felt like I barely had space to breathe, let alone dream sometimes. And when your kids are little, it's really understandable. You're just trying to keep everyone alive. Sleep is a luxury. Your days are just full of caretaking. But as our kids start to grow, when they hit those preteen and teen years, something really starts to shift. They start pulling away and finding their independence, and suddenly we're left with a little bit more time and a lot more space to reflect on who we are outside of motherhood or fatherhood. And that's where I realized if I wanted my kids to grow up confident and passionate and purposeful, I had to really model that myself. So our kids learn through watching us. And we know that, right? We know that intrinsically, but it's sometimes we forget it. And so just that reminder that our kids learn through watching us, not just how we manage emotions or how we treat people, but how we live. And so if I tell my kids to chase their dreams, but they see me playing small and me being afraid to take risks or constantly putting my needs on the back burner, they're learning that that's what adulthood looks like. But if they see me light up over something I'm passionate about, if they see me making time for things that bring me joy or purpose, they're learning that their own dreams are worth pursuing too. And this isn't about swinging to the other extreme. I still prioritize showing up for my kids. I still go to as many of their games as possible and travel all over the place to go to tournaments and whatever's important to show up to their events, right? Or just to show up for connection time with them. I absolutely still prioritize my kids. They're still my number one priority in my life. But there's a difference between prioritizing our kids and revolving our entire identity around them. So when everything we do is about them, we unintentionally send the message that our value only comes from being needed. And that's not the example that we want to set. And it's also unfair to them because it really can create pressure for them to fulfill the dreams or emotional needs that we've neglected in ourselves. And that's where that living vicariously through your kids trap comes in. When we push them to succeed in areas we never got to explore or to achieve things we wish we had, it's usually coming from love, but it can feel really heavy for them and a lot to live up to. And it might not even have anything to do with what they actually want for themselves, right? And so we want to allow them to find their own dreams, their own passions, and not have to live out our unlived dreams, right? And we can do that by living our own dreams, which is very cool because then it's a win-win situation for everyone, right? So when we take care of ourselves, physically, mentally, spiritually, it doesn't just make us happier. It gives our kids permission. It gives them permission to take care of themselves, permission to say yes to things that light them up, permission to live boldly and fully. And our joy teaches them that adulthood doesn't have to mean burnout or resentment or self-sacrifice, right? It can mean curiosity and creativity and purpose, right? So even though my week was so busy and full, right, it was actually busy and full of me living my dreams. And so it feels okay. It feels okay for me to wake up really, really early in the morning sometimes to get to my work because I love my work now. It's work that I'm designing and creating and putting out in the world. And so it's not a chore. It's not burnout. I don't have resentment for it. Sometimes I get tired and I need to reset and then go find one of my fun hobbies or, take a nap. But it's something that really feeds my soul. And so I feel really good about putting lots of time and energy into it. So some of the work I do is coaching for parents. And sometimes I'll have them walk through an exercise called living into your own dreams, purpose, and passion. And it's not about having them overhaul their life. It's about having them find one thing, just one that excites them, something that makes them feel more like themselves. And so it might be something like painting or gardening or writing, learning a language, volunteering for something that matters to them. But I have them pick one thing that they're going to focus on, and then they will spend a little time every week on that thing, right? Even if it's just 15 minutes, just starting to open the doorway to something that feels really positive and something that they've been wanting to do, wanting to put energy into for themselves. And it's something that's not for their kids. It's not for their partner, but for them. And then the magic part is when they share it with their teenager. They talk about how it makes them feel alive again. They talk about how much fun they're having with this thing, right? They show them that look at what mom is doing, look at what dad is doing. I'm doing this awesome thing. And it's really amazing when they get to witness that, when they get to witness their parents doing something that makes them feel good just for them. Because they really need to see that it's possible to be an adult and a parent and a whole human at the same time. Because otherwise, like, what is there to look forward to, right? If we're just going to go do the grind and clock in every day and clock out and pay the bills and do the dishes and all the things that they've been trying to avoid for the 18 years at home, right? So if they know that there's also good things intermixed and that we can have a balance in our lives, then it's something that they can really look forward to and be excited about also. So here's my invitation for you today. Ask yourself, am I living into my own dreams, purpose, and passion? And if the answer is maybe not so much, what's one small way that you could start? Because when we live fully, we give our kids the greatest gift we could ever offer, which is a model of what it looks like to have joy and contentment and be really, truly alive while we're here on this earth. All right, that is it for today. Thank you so much for listening to Parents and Teens Rising. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with another parent who might need this reminder too. And if you're ready to dive deeper into this kind of work, learning how to support your team while also reconnecting with yourself, come and find me on Instagram. I'm over at jasmine.guidedpassages, and Jasmine is with a Y, not an I. Or you can find me on my website at www.guided-passages.com. And until next time, keep showing up with love, keep growing, and keep becoming the example your kids will one day thank you for. All right, everyone, have a beautiful rest of your day and go do something that you want to do just for you. All right, bye, everyone.